hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, pakher ragle, junushumme, washmale, Ohio Gonzalez.
Guten Morgen, hola, boyor, привет, kaifa hal, hala shama chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside the very amazing and at times step ahead, Shiza Hashmi. Hello Shiza, how are you?
I'm great, how are you? Did I get the words right?
Yeah, you got the words right as well. And I think that, in days to come, I'll probably just sit silent or probably just sit quietly because you will remember all of the hellos and highs.
Well, I hope I do, but
Yeah.
no, of course you won't sit quiet. So how are you today?
Well, I'm good, and I think I feel great too as well, because early in the morning, the first thing I do when I wake up is that I think of that breakfast which my mother's going to make for me, and I think I'm very excited about that. But other than that, what I've noticed in my life that, for these past 30 years, I never had a routine or a schedule.
You didn't?
Yeah, I never had a routine or a schedule that, I'm supposed to sleep at this time or wake up at this time. But obviously, when it's work, you have to wake up at that time. But my sleeping hours were fluctuating.
Okay.
So now finally, I've come to a point in my life where I'm like, okay, if I do not sleep by 12 midnight, it will be hard for me to wake up next morning. And now, when I wake up and I know that, I've slept enough, I think it gives me more energy to do my work with full zeal and fervor. I think that's what it is. What about you?
Yes, I agree with you. Initially when I started working over here, so it was sort of hard for me to, make sense of everything and, to go to bed early and wake up early in the morning.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to miss out on a lot of things. My friends and my family were going out, chilling and everything. But lately, I've become that old person who goes to bed by 11 or 11:30 just because I want to catch up on at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Or probably
and I
because
don't
you're
mind.
old enough now too as well.
That too,
but I've got
probably.
4 things, so this is how life goes, ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen. So there are these 4 things and you have to prioritize amongst them. So I'm going to ask you, how do you do that?
Okay.
So you've got family.
Yeah.
Then you've got friends. Then you've got workouts, exercise.
Lol.
And then you've got work. So how would you prioritize in between? Who comes first?
Okay, I think, of course, family comes first.
Okay, family comes first for
Not
you.
a lot of my friends live, for you, what do you mean? No, not a lot of my friends live here, so I don't have to sort of prioritize with that, but I have to sort of keep a check on them on my phone.
Okay, so
which is
friends
also
then. So
routine.
second is friends.
Yes.
Okay, third
family
is-
and friends sort of comes together. Third is work, of course.
Okay, there is work.
And workout is, not at all a priority for me because I'm so lazy, man. What about you?
Okay, for me, I think work comes in the first place,
Okay.
before family and friends. Then after work, I've got family, then friends. And, well, in fact, sometimes workout first and then friends.
I know, right? For you,
Yeah, because, you have to manage things. So
Right.
one day, it's friends before workout, and then the other day it's workout before friends. So, this is how life goes.
Okay,
But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a very important
Yes.
public service message for people out there. And that is that, recent reports show that, drug addiction and drug abuse is actually on an increase over here within Pakistan. And I was watching this report over the internet the other day, and it was by a very reputable agency where they said that nowadays these drug dealers, what they're doing is that they're going to college students and university students, and then they're selling them all of those drugs by saying, because this is exam season as well, everybody's having their finals, may it be a semester end, may it be a medical college year end as well. So what they say is that if you're going to have this drug, probably, it'll actually help you increase the efficiency of your brain and you'll be able to remember. So the drug's name is ice. It's small white crystals, probably something like
Ice?
that. Yes.
Okay.
That's what the name of the drug is. So, and that drug has serious implications on your physiological and psychological matters. Please make sure that you avoid all such medications.
Yes.
And other than that, it might help you temporarily, but in the longer run, some major psychological and physiological problems are waiting for you. For all those parents who are out there, there is no harm taking your kids to a laboratory and probably getting them tested as well, because no kid will open up in front of their parents. But we want you guys to be safe, healthy, and fit and successful. That's what it is.
Thank you for telling us that, because to be honest, I didn't even know that. But I mean, imagine someone feeding on your, sort of weakness, because that point, you're so desperate and you can easily be exploited. I can agree with
Exactly.
that. So since we are sort of, heading towards universities and schools, there's one thing. I was reading a news article from one of our neighboring countries the other day, and they have passed a law that classes for under 5th grade, They're not allowed to carry school bags bigger than 1.5 kg.
Wow.
And the highest schools are allowed to, carry school bags for 5 kgs. It's still a lot. I believe it's still a lot. Why
5
can we
kg
not?
is nothing, yeah.
But it is. I mean, why do you have to carry so much weight to go to a school? Why do you have to still stick to textbooks?
I
mean,
get your point.
You
I
know
get your point. Yeah, yeah.
So are we probably looking at a future where everything is digitalized and can
digitized as well.
Yes. Can we
Yeah.
expect some sort of thing in the future?
That was a great link, and I think that if in near future, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that all you have to carry to your school or to your college or to your university is just a simple tablet or your cell phone. I think education will be fun then.
Sounds fun.
People can come up with applications probably which you can use within your university. A Snapchat for within your university students, or probably talking about whatever you discussed in your class. So this is what we're focusing on, ladies and gentlemen, as we know that this is a technological era, and it's moving ahead with such a pace where it is hard to keep up with the new technological trends too as well. So today we'll be talking about digitalization and digitization. What is the difference in between, and what is basically digitalization and digitization? I might probably know, but there are other people who might not know, and this is for the very first time that we are discussing such a trend over here on our show. So I want the basics to be out first, and then we'll get the cat out of the bag. So on my right hand side, to discuss all of these amazing things, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who's an educationist. She is the founder of EdTech Works. She's none other than Dr. Farah Arif. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum, I'm
Walaikum
good.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you on the show, and especially when somebody's actually making their way from Lahore to Islamabad. So thank you.
Thank you.
But now getting started, first things first, I'm sorry, but I'll have to ask this question. I know it's a very layman question, but
No,
what
but
is the difference?
for commoners like me?
Well, what is the difference in between digitalization and if I take the L out, it becomes digitization? What is the difference?
Thank you for highlighting these two very important aspects, and I'll connect the product that we are developing with your discussion. So just imagine that the book that we were using, we are still using, is paper bound, right?
Yeah.
And if we somehow can digitalize this book, right? So let's say your book is no more in the physical form. You can read the whole book through your tablet or through your mobile, and the book is not like downloaded, right? But actually it is staying somewhere in the cloud. So that is the digital book. Now, if you design the whole process in such a way that the classroom experience is digitized, right? And the chatting that you are talking about is also digitized. And the homework that the students are giving, they are preparing, and the class assignments that they are doing, if they are not on paper, and they become the digital products and become the part of that digitized process. So I hope I have made it understood that when you transform something which is non-digital into some form of digital, that become a digital product, right? And the process that you design for these digital products, that is digitization.
Okay, so that means that, for example, we moved on from a typewriter to a keyboard. Now the keyboard
That's
can
a
be
digital
plugged
product,
into now the keyboard can be plugged into a computer, and it's all digital. So that means that the process from where the typewriter was converted into a keyboard is digitization. And keyboard turning into typewriter turning into keyboard is digitalization. So now we want to come down to a point where we talk about digitization, where we inculcate the processes which digitalize our equipment. So let's start with that. How do you think it's going to happen in terms of schools, universities, and colleges?
Right. Actually, it has started happening. But in Pakistan, of course, the pace is not that great. Now, last year, I started thinking about it, that we have been talking about digital transformation. But this digital transformation is not coming into my classroom. So I am a LUMS professor, teaching different courses over there at the MBA level, executive MBA level,
Marketing
at the
strategy,
undergraduate
consumer behavior,
level. Yes, consumer analytics, and actually digital transformation is one of the courses that we teach. Now, if you're looking into digital transformation and your process is not digitized at all, that's a little bit, it hurts, right? So then we started working on it, that how can we do it? So going back to your question, the most important thing of digitization is to create an experience. That is one of the most important things. Now, Can we do it? Of course we can do it. So last year when I started thinking about it, and this year when we launched this company, which is called EdTech Works, we wanted students to have a pleasurable learning experience. You pointed out on this that students
Sounds like
get
an oxymoron, though. Pleasurable learning.
no, that is some.
I don't know whether something like this can exist even or not.
No, it is very much existing.
Okay.
It's very much existing. You know, it has started happening. Just think about yourself. When you were a kid, were you really looking forward to going to a school? Not many kids used to do it. But now you talk to little kids, when they go to their play groups, believe me, they don't want to stay with their parents.
Believe
They
me, even
want
if you're
go
going to
out.
tell me that you're going to give me 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 crore rupees if I will go back to school, I will never opt for going back to school.
See, that is exactly what I'm talking about. So the experience that you generate, it needs to be a pleasurable experience. Now, both of the things that you are talking about, so first of all, you know, that drug thing, just imagine that if you bog down the student with books, with the theory, no practical implication, no connection between the student's aspiration and with the text that they are studying, of course they will get frustrated. They don't have anything to look up to look forward to. Now, if you make education an interesting experience, a pleasurable experience, you bring case studies from their own environment, right? You bring, you know, people who are expert and working in the industry, when they come to their classes, then there is a connection, and then students can start learning. Now, the whole issue is that with digitization, you know, as we are talking about, if we have those digital books where you are not only just learning the concepts, you are watching the videos.
That's what I was coming to. So you're talking about EdTech. Can you repeat the name, please?
Gee, this is EdTech Works.
Works. Okay. So I have sort of an example. So there was one of my sisters was studying biology in her A levels, and she could not understand mitosis, no matter how long I took to explain it to her.
What is it though? Sorry.
It's a cell division process. So there was this one time I was like, you know what? I'm going to make you watch a video. Maybe that explains better. I found it on YouTube, and she sort of, it did explain better. So are you incorporating pictures and videos in that? And also one more thing, is that, do you think, I'm not sure, but do you think it's also going to kill the essence of a classroom?
Okay, both of the questions are great. Now, the first thing is that you see, multiple media always help you. So just imagine you have read a few lines and then you watch an animated video. You see, which is very much close to the text which is written. And then you look exciting, colorful, relatable graphics. Now you are doing learning through 3 different mediums. On top of that, you are also chatting with your class fellows, and your instructor is also either standing in the classroom talking to you, or she's sitting somewhere, or he's sitting somewhere remote location, and also talking to you. So this is the future of education, which we have already, introduced, right?
And this is where I was coming. So now, ladies and gentlemen, there's this one example which I need to give to everybody who's out there or who's probably tuned in. And that example is very simple. Now, for example, if we go back in the 18th century or the 19th century, we knew that there were horse carts. Then horse carts were probably converted into smaller engine cars, and then smaller engine into probably Mercedes, BMW, whatnot, aeroplanes. Now, I think in today's time and era, classroom is the only place which still looks like the same, which it was probably in the 18th century and the 19th century. And imagine that we haven't really progressed in the field of education, and that too is very honest with a country where literacy rate is probably 45 or 47% as well. But how are we planning on digitalizing these schools? Because digitalizing is probably the entire process of how to get things done now. So how do you think that it will work? What is the process, and what are the things involved in it?
Right.
Or maybe you can answer this in terms of where you've already incorporated your initiative.
So for example, yesterday I was sitting with one of the university administration, and the whole challenge is that the undergrad class is like of 600, and we don't have quality instructors available. And just imagine, I'm talking about like big cities, KLI, just imagine about a remote location. So coming back to your question, what is the first step? The first step was to create a platform, which the company has done. The second step is to find out the subject matter experts to sit down with them and then curate the content on the platform in such a way where students should not be finding it boring or should not get burdened. So that's the second step, which we have already started doing. So for example, Dr. Fararif, PhD from Cambridge, professor at LUMS, is developing content on this platform. So we have already developed 2 digital interactive books. One is called Marketing Essentials, and the other is called Design Thinking. Now, and these, so Marketing Essentials you can understand, design thinking is a new concept even in the foreign universities. So because of this digital product and because of this digitization, we have brought in this very latest technology, latest concept here in Pakistan. So that's the second step. You bring people on board with you. The third step is you go out and talk to universities, but the universities don't have money to spend from their own pocket. Then what would you do? You have to bring the price down to the level where it should be accessible to everybody. Just imagine the pirated book right now in the country, it is being sold around 350 to 400.
And it's no fun reading out
and
from a pirated book. You know,
exactly. It is so bad. It is a very bad experience. And even if you get photocopied, it costs you around like 400 to 500. What if you have digital interactive book lying on a cloud where you just go to your laptop or your mobile, you just do password and log in, right? And this book is available to you for 500 rupees. Now this is called revolution. And what you are talking about, how will we, bring it here in Pakistan? This is the way. So first of all, the platform which we have developed. Second, to ask experts to come on board, that we are doing. The third, to convince universities. And by the way, universities' pain point is that their instructors, they are overburdened. So something like that, it should be a win-win situation for the instructor, for the student, for the university.
Okay, so Dr. Farah, one more thing. Actually, it's a combination of 2 questions. I'm sorry, Shahzad. So this is a homegrown solution, and we're very proud of that. But are you trying to incorporate some probably Pakistan-based case studies in this as well? I mean, why do our students have to study something from the US all the time? I'm pretty sure we do have some examples or case studies over here. The second part of this is, I know a lot of research students who are doing amazing jobs at what they're doing, but their work does not get published. Are we also working on that?
Okay, coming back to your case study thing, so my whole training is around case studies. So I did my MBA in '98 with case studies. For the last 7 years, I'm teaching in LUMS, and that is with case studies. So I could not think without case study. So the platform is developed in such a way where we have to incorporate the local case studies. I have already developed the cases which were published in the hard form. Now we have digitized them on our platform. So case studies are definitely going to be there. It was a huge demand of the industry as well as of the educational institutes. But now we have started working. Now, second question is the research that, you see, so we need to develop a culture that, yes, local content is good. Now, when you develop this culture, so for example, a student is doing some research and now he finds or she finds that that research is relatable to that particular course. Now, he just needs to come to us. He will or she will show us the content, and you know what? Within an hour, we'll upload it on our portal within the relevant subject area. That's the beauty of digitization, that you don't need to go into the printing house, get it printed, and then it gets obsolete within a month.
And this is what I wanted to ask. Now, for example, let's talk about the most common education sectors. For example, that may probably be medicine, engineering, and business studies. I think these are the most common ones as well. Now for 5, and then there's BDS, and then there's marketing majors, and then there's HR and global and whatnot. Do you think that the platform you're providing will be able to digitize the entire syllabi of all of these different fields within education in such a fast period of time that people probably from 6 months onwards will probably be looking at books in the clouds?
Yeah. So yes, it is doable, but because my core area is of business, so yes, I can promise you that within a year, all the functional areas of business management.
When books from Philip Kotler and people like these, they'll be available.
This is
because
a bit
we'll need permissions,
Exactly. So see, the important thing is that we will not copy and paste. Now, this is copyright infringement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
And we need to be very careful about it. What we need to do is, and that's why it would take some time, but we need to do is that we need to encourage local professors, whether they are sitting in engineering university or medicine schools, that why don't you develop your own story?
Okay.
Now, the system that we are providing is because these people don't have time to write down each and everything. However, they go to classroom, they do teach. What we will do, we'll capture it, and our experts, who are the editors, right, they will write it down. Our graphic designer will design beautiful graphics around it. Our animator will design animated videos around it. And that is what we're going to do, inshallah.
Okay, that's great. But, you know, I just do not want to go to a university or a college where, you know, 3 teachers come in and they're like, open your book, and 3 teachers are like, open your book from the cloud.
Right,
You know, I want the process to be similar all this
Yeah.
way.
Okay, right. So we have to start at some point.
Yeah.
And I think diversity will also bring some benefits. Because when you have to introduce something new, you have to roll out, of course, with one example. Now, of course, if students will like the experience, then they will ask their professors that, why don't you bring your concept on this? You see, so, and that's the way we bring any kind of revolution. You know?
And okay, Dr. Farah, it's only been 3 months with your initiative, and you're already, mashallah, doing great. It's amazing. But are you sort of going to expand into probably corporate sector, and is there a lot of demand for this?
Are you probably looking for investors or other people to jump into your business?
All right. So interestingly, when I developed it for the classroom experience, right? But then now when we introduced it to the corporate world, actually they were waiting for it. So yesterday, when because as I'm in Islamabad, so I was talking to different companies as well, and they said we were actually looking for that.
Wow.
So they buy something very expensive from abroad. It is like investment of millions. But the problem is they are not local case studies, and so they cannot connect to that. Now we have local technology with local content. There is more connection into it.
Right.
So and your question, sorry, I forgot your question.
Investments are you looking for?
Yeah, investments. Okay, you know, one thing that being an MBA, you are so geared towards it that whatever resources you have, invest it and start doing the work. So yes, people ask me, Dr. Farah, you have burnt your own money, and I said, yeah, whatever savings I had, I burnt it. Yes, we are looking for investments. Why? Because the question that you raised, that how quickly you can scale it up. So of course, when we will have investment, inshallah, that we have, because now investors have started talking to us, because we have now product and
We've
there's
got a
demand
good
for
opportunity
that.
over here.
Yes. So yes, we are looking for investments to scale it up. And the day is not that far away where inshallah, even in the engineering schools, in the medical schools, we will have such kind of experience.
Inshallah. And we truly want that as well. And ladies and gentlemen, as she very rightly said, that, you know, they're definitely looking for investment opportunities as well. So I think for people who've actually been thinking what to do, I think this is the right thing to do in the days to come. But one last thing, and that is that, for example, earlier when we used to go to universities and, you know, somebody will come running and will say, oh, you know, there's this seminar happening and everybody needs to come. So are we looking forward towards webinars as well, you know, something of that sort?
Yes. So because it's a cloud-based technology and it is already, you know, on internet. So webinar can be incorporated in a very, it's not that a difficult thing. And just to wrap up this discussion, we have already launched online courses for the corporate world. Now, the last course that I was running, just imagine that the students not only from across Pakistan, from the cities like Multan, Faisalabad, they were participating. There were students sitting outside Pakistan, with Pakistan origin, in China, in Saudi Arabia, and then Bradford, Toronto, Dubai. They were participating with Pakistani students sitting here. That is the future of education.
Exactly. So that nobody has to travel and, you know, so there's no hassle.
No hassle.
Thank you very much, Dr. Farah, for being with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
It was lovely to have you. It was lovely to have you, and this is the way forward indeed. And we
Inshallah.
definitely put our faith into what you're doing, actually. And I think that people are definitely going to enjoy it because education is going to be a pleasurable experience in the coming days. I think that's a good promise to make.
Inshallah.
Of course, we're looking, you know, towards a digitized and as well as a digitalized future of education. So, ladies and gentlemen, on this note, we're heading out to a short break, and when we come back, we're discussing something
very important. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if we would have digitized, I don't think that, you know, so many other keynote speakers would have actually traveled to Pakistan to be a part of this symposium. Let's talk about that. Good morning.
Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Well this morning with Shahzad Khan and Shiza Hashmi. And today, it's a lovely morning, of course.
Yeah, it is.
So in the first segment, we discussed how we're looking at the future of education. It's digitized, it's digitalized, and it's amazing. And I promise you, all of the students are going to love to be a part of this education system.
Exactly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on where, before heading out towards the break, I said that, if the process would have been digitalized and digitized, so many doctors would have never felt the need to actually come down to Pakistan to share their experiences. So today, ladies and gentlemen, it is 6th of December. So from tomorrow onwards, there's this symposium by Pims, which is going to take place. A lot of people from the outer world are actually going to travel to Pakistan and will share their experiences in terms of surgery and medicine and whatnot. And I think that, people like these who actually share their experiences will definitely benefit our medical industry, or probably, the health sector as well. I think this is what is the cause of symposium as well. We've been joined by somebody who's the assistant professor at surgery, Pims, and she's going to tell us about this symposium and the workshops taking place and what will be the benefits of these symposiums. And do you think that these symposiums will have an impact on the health sector over here within Pakistan or not? These are the questions which we'll be asking her. She's none other than Dr. Arifa Manzoor. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Salam. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us. I don't know why, but I felt like saying my salam like one of this gentlemen on the other television channel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Okay, so let's get started. So tell us about this symposium.
Okay, first of all, we are having this symposium, which is the theme of which is transforming healthcare. So in today's world, we have to change according to the new changes which are taking place in the field of healthcare in medical education. And this symposium is held after a gap of like 9 years in Pims, which is a premier institute of the country, and we have been delivering healthcare to a vast population, and we are the premier teaching and training institute. We are training nurses, we are training paramedics, we are training doctors. So in the face of so much burden that we face and all the academic activities, it was very very much required that we hold a conference of this level. I mean, the symposium is a purely academic activity, and there will be people who are traveling from from all over the Pakistan. We are expecting about 1,200 delegates.
Wow, 1,200 delegates.
1,200 delegates.
And all of them doctors only?
Most of them will be the medical doctors. But we have invited 50 speakers for keynote talks, and then there are about 200 research papers, and there will be oral and poster presentations.
Okay, so let's break it down. So for example, for 1,200 people to be coming down to Pakistan, obviously they'll be
to Islamabad, basically.
to Islamabad, yeah.
All around.
Islamabad is in Pakistan, yeah.
Okay.
So now what I want to do is that I want you to break it down for all those people who are out there, that how it's going to be effective, first of all. And then, for example, there's gynecology, there's cardiology, there's so many other terms and things within the field of medicine. So obviously every person who's going to fly down to Islamabad will have their own expert opinions, and they'll share that with people over here, or Pakistani doctors are going to share that with other people too as well. And then what will happen with all of these talks?
Okay, let's divide it. You're right. It's 2 days. The symposium will last 2 days. The inauguration will be tomorrow. There are plenary sessions. One is medical education, and the other is on Saturday. That is this reforms in healthcare. Okay. And there will be research paper presentations, and there will be sessions dedicated to gynecology, medicine, pathology, critical care, and all kinds of research will be presented in those sessions. And in plenary sessions, there are debates and all the views from the invited speakers, and they will discuss the future healthcare challenges. And how
So
we can
Dr.
improve upon the healthcare facilities.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry to cut you over here, but when we're talking about Pims, the institution itself, people from all segments of the society come to that, I know for a fact. So when you're saying that everyone gets together and shares their experiences and the research that they've done, are you also training the doctors and practitioners of the field to do probably better at the job?
Of course, that's a training institute, and we have more than 500 trainees. There's a school of nursing, there's a college of nursing, where we
Are there training workshops going on?
yes, there are 29 training workshops.
Okay.
Okay, and these started from 29. The first workshop started from 29 November.
Okay.
Today there are 6 workshops going on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it includes workshops from the stress management, nursing side workshops, and there are workshops from pathology, gynecology. So in those particular workshops, it's not necessarily just the activities of the symposium. These pre-symposium workshops, they are quite an efficient way to increase the knowledge and skill, the hands of workshops for all the participants who are coming from other cities.
Right.
So that's part of continuous medical education. They are getting trained, and when they go back to their places, they can deliver all the new things that they have learned. So it's a way of spreading knowledge, and continuous medical education is a requirement for
any doctor to actually be up to date.
to be up to date. And we are giving 4 CME points.
What's that?
The CME is continuous medical education points. The PMDC, these all will be registered in the PMDC, which is Pakistan Medical and
you
Dental
need these
Council.
certificates, right?
Yes, 4 for every workshop, and 8 for these 2 days of the symposium. So this will help them in the for their accreditation.
Now this is where it gets difficult, and I'm sorry that I always have to be an scapegoat as well, and I have to come up with a picture which is very different, or which is very, I think people actually
needs to
want
be
to avoid
addressed.
it too as well. But now what I see, about all of these workshops and symposiums taking place is that I've witnessed it myself. I host different shows, and I've recently hosted another surgery conference as well. So what I was able to understand was that people from all over Pakistan, they're just eager to travel with their families for free. That's what they want. That's what people do. I'm sorry that I have to say it, but this is a point of concern. And while they're within the conference, and since I myself have hosted a lot of conferences, they just do not pay any attention. So what's the point of giving them 4 continuous medical education points, or 8, or holding these symposiums, because nobody is there to learn. People are there to enjoy and travel.
I differ with you.
You can, of course.
Because it depends. I can give you an example of the
If
workshop.
it depends, you cannot differ with me.
I mean, I'm going to give you an example that 2 days before, on Tuesday, I was a facilitator of one of the workshops. That was the first oncoplastic breast surgery workshop in a public sector hospital, which I conducted. And I had 27 participants from across the country. People traveled from Bahawalpur, from Multan, from Lahore, from Wah. I had 6 people from Lady Reading Hospital, Peshawar, Hayatabad Medical Complex, and then Ayub Teaching Hospital. They all came. They were so enthusiastic. I don't know about, from where they funded
No, this is not what my question is.
And from morning to, there were people who were coming before I joined. I started the workshop, and we got a tremendous responance.
And we got you've taken it the other way. Now my question primarily was
people
to
are
ask
interested.
My question primarily was just to ask that when people attend these workshops, do you think that they even learn a lot and then they practice that within their own practices?
I think if somebody is traveling all the way to come to our workshops, they are interested. The
But
workshops,
he's right next to Islamabad,
workshops. Yeah, that can be. They can if they combine, their academic pursuits with. They want to spend time in Murray. Then that's happened everywhere. I mean, people. That's how you prioritize.
But for people who want to learn, they
Of
can.
course. But this is a great initiative, and I must appreciate our executive director, Dr. Raja Amjad Mahmood, who has taken a lead role. And this is such an academic activity which has gelled together all the people in the Pims. I can see the enthusiasm, the way everybody is participating, all the senior faculty of Pims. And they are putting in a lot of effort to make it a success. The President of Pakistan, Dr. Arif Alvi, he himself is taken out to come tomorrow to formally inaugurate the sessions.
Exactly.
And our Health Minister,
So who's hosting it?
Pims is obviously the Pims is hosting it. Pims is hosting it, and the Minister Sahab is also coming again and again, and the health priorities to bring about reforms and changes and improving the healthcare. This is the one of the priorities of the new government.
Yes,
so I can see all the hustle and bustle and the happiness and energy all around me.
No, but that's great. That's great,
So
Doctor.
I think that's a great event which is going to happen.
Yes, absolutely. So
Okay.
since you just mentioned that you guys are also working on improving the healthcare facilities in Pakistan and how to, sort of study what's going wrong with that.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, what is the future of this symposium? Is it going to be an annual thing from now on? How often is this going to be held? And how often are you guys planning to bring all the practitioners on the same page?
Okay. Well, these symposiums are normally held on an annual basis or biannually. So, Pims being the leader in all these training activities and everything, so we are intending to hold it every year.
Right.
So that there can be more training activities and this spread of knowledge and training. So we are likely to.
Okay, that's great. Now, towards the last 5 minutes of the show, there's this one thing which I wanted to talk about. I'm very sorry that it's going to be a surprise for you too as well.
Okay.
For
I think
me
we
as
have, I think we have talked enough about the symposium and the workshops which are going to take place and what are the benefits. Let's not drag it a little more. Now, I want to come down to where it is all about, public medical facilities. I mean, for example, talking about Pims and, for all of what people might think, I've been to Pims myself, 5 rupees you pay at the counter and the service is great. So there are people who actually need to go to those places first and then talk about that, there's this problem, there's this problem. What are the challenges right now exactly which are faced by the public health institutions?
I think the overburden, the population increase and the resources. But if you come to Pims now, we have we have renovated the wards. The OPD system has been streamlined in Pims. It has been, HMIS, Health Management Information System, is in place. Health management system is in place. And this is all computerized. You can see the digital counters, and you can see, the OPD. It's all been kind of overhauled, and so the wards. There's a lot of improvement going on. Recently the Minister Sahab inaugurated many wards. I think we are putting in a lot of effort to facilitate the public who's coming there, because we get people from from Kashmir, from up to Gilgit-Baltistan, and there's not a referral system in place. There's not something like they're booked patients and the GPs referring them. They just come on their own, and we don't know how much people we have to cater to. But we try to facilitate all of them, and we are putting in a lot of effort to to improve and facilitate all those people who are coming in, the medicines. It's a lot of improvement now that we are trying to provide them with free medicines and in the limited budget and everything. This is money matters as well.
And I'm very sorry that I'm actually putting you under the spotlight.
It's all right. It's all right. That's what I'm speaking from my heart. I'm speaking what I'm seeing.
But now the cat comes out of the bag. So now the only reason why I asked you this question was that don't you think that our priority should be actually facilitating all those people who are coming in for their treatments, or probably holding symposiums where people are coming in and spending a lot of money?
See, who's going to treat those patients? The doctors, the nurses, all the paramedics. So if we don't train them,
Very nice.
how will they deliver? I'm also a medical educationist, so I would definitely and always favor the conferences and the symposiums, and this is the standard. If you don't train them, update your people, how can they deliver?
Yes, of course.
So, that's what is required.
Thank you very much for being with us. It was lovely to have you.
Thank you
It was
so much.
lovely to be in conversation with you, and I liked
Thank
it
you for
that,
having me here.
That you were very contained, and you were very good. In
Yes.
fact, for somebody who's, this was the very first interview of Dr. Arfa, ladies and gentlemen, and I think
Shazad
she's
put
done
her
a
a
great
lot
job.
under the spotlight.
Yeah, I'm
so
very
she
sorry, but I
managed
think
well.
that, we need to do justice
Yeah,
with
of course.
ourselves as well, and, the type of work we do, because people out there, they trust us because of the fact that we ask questions which are very close to their hearts, and we give them solutions. But thank you very much, Dr. Arifa,
Thank you so much.
for being with us. It was lovely to have you.
Thank you.
But before, ending the program, Shazad, now what I want you to tell us is that, for example, today in the show we have discussed about digitalization, digitization, and then, these symposiums taking place. Obviously, all of these things are interlinked.
Yes.
Now, you yourself are a student of masters. Imagine studying with books from iCloud or probably studying from paper. What would you like the most?
First, okay, this
Yeah.
is a different opinion. I personally like hard copies of books. That is, I'll tell you why. I get distracted a lot when I'm doing something on the cloud.
Yeah.
There's a lot of distractions that do not help you or enable you to make a study. So probably the best thing for me is use a hard copy of anything that I'm studying.
And I think I'm going to stick to this as well, because I was never able to prepare for an exam if I'm not writing it down.
Yeah.
So I'll always
Or
write down
underlining
things,
or highlighting everything.
Yeah, I think that was the process back then, but now with the technological advancements, I think that kids these days are so smart that they're probably going to learn how to actually use these tablets, and then how to write, and I think it's going to save a lot of time. So
Yes,
for all
true,
of those 1.5 hour lectures where we actually have to fulfill the credit hours, I think, but still, credit hours, the problem is going to be the same. So I don't know what to go for.
But let's wait for the future
Yeah.
and find out how that goes.
Exactly, that's what it is. But do write to us, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any confusion, on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name
Well,
of,
this morning.
on Twitter,
Well, this morning without a G.
on Dailymotion and YouTube,
Well, this morning,
and the fabulous repeat is going to be at
11:05 in the night.
till the next time. 1, 2, 3.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.